Okay, I'd like to call the 7 PM work session meeting to order. Nancy, can we have a roll call, please?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Boonstra?
Here.
Mr. Fisher?
Here.
Mr. Melchiong?
Here.
Mr. Shanley?
Here.
And Mayor Madigan.
Here.
This regular work session meeting of the Wykoff Township Committee is now in session. In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, notice of this meeting appears on our annual schedule of meetings. A copy of said annual schedule has been posted on the bulletin board in Memorial Town Hall. A copy has been filed with the municipal clerk and has been posted on our municipal website, and a copy has been emailed to the Record, the Ridgewood News, and the North Jersey Herald News, all newspapers having a general circulation throughout the township of Wykoff. At least 48 hours prior to this meeting, the agenda thereof was similarly posted, filed, and emailed to said newspapers.
Okay, Nancy, can you confirm the Finance Committee has signed all our vouchers?
I can, Mr. Mayor.
So we're good there? Okay, can I have a motion to open the meeting to public comment, 10-minute period, 2 minutes per speaker for public comment on any governmental issue that a member of the public feels may be of concern to the resident of the Township of Wykoff?
So move.
Second.
Sorry, Pete.
Mr. Boonstra?
Yes.
Mr. Fisher?
Yes.
Mr. Melchiong?
Yes.
Mr. Shanley?
Yes.
And Mayor Madigan.
Yes.
With an affirmative vote, the motion is approved.
Okay, if anybody wishes to address the governing body, please step forward if you wish to make a comment.
Seeing and hearing no one, I move to close public comment.
Second.
Mr. Boonstra?
Yes.
Mr. Fisher?
Yes.
Mr. Melchiong?
Yes.
Mr. Shanley?
Yes.
And Mayor Madigan.
Yes.
With an affirmative vote, the motion is approved.
Okay. Review of the business meeting agenda. Matt, would you take us through that, please?
Thank you. We have a pretty light agenda this meeting. We have several resolutions endorsing community development block grant submissions, one by Hope Christian Services and two by Christian Health. Those are our standard resolutions that we pass when those application periods come forward. As you recall, we entered into an agreement with St. Elizabeth's School for the SLEO 3 services. This is a Chapter 159 on the agenda, authorizing the insertion of that revenue into the budget. And finally, 266 recognizes National Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. There are two motions which will be read into the record this evening. And with regard to updates, it was brought to my office's attention about the condition of fences along Route 208. I believe that was brought to my attention a couple weeks ago. Our code enforcement officer has already started to issue violation notices to the homeowners to repair or remove their fences that are in need of property maintenance, and we are following up on those. Ridgewood Water has moved up the water main replacement on Woodland Avenue. This is the section that runs from Voorhees down past the down past the recreation office. This will be starting this week and expected to take about 3 weeks. And this should clear up the chronic brown water that we have at the library for over a decade.
That's great.
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 A pre-construction meeting will be occurring next week for the Flexi Pave at Russell Park. DPW has already been out there, repaired the drainage issues that were around the paths that needed to be done before the new paths can be laid. Police Department will be releasing a hiring announcement probably by the end of this week with a closure date of October 16th, I believe. October 6th, I'm sorry.
That was the first week.
The road improvement program for 2023 is complete. I want to thank Lenny, who really led this job from start to finish. Did a great job, and now start planning for 2024. We do have several ordinance amendments in the pike. They're going through department review right now, and then they'll be passed on to the governing body. And finally, weather permitting, the fireworks will be held this Saturday. Gates open around 6 p.m. I want to thank Sarah Supermarkets, especially Mr. Larry and Sarah, and Lakeland Bank for their generous sponsorship again this year. And that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Question?
Yes,
So the fencing along 208,
yes.
I see there's new fence going up with part of the state
Chain link.
plan. We gotta make sure they've got gates in them in areas where the hydrants are adjacent, especially along James Way and William Way. And any fences that we look to replace along 208 in our borough, our township, we gotta make sure the gates get put back.
Okay,
So we have there, if you drive the highway, there's signs, hydrant signs,
yep,
and there's gates as to the closest nearest hydrant.
okay,
Especially in my neighborhood, just because I noticed it the other day and I didn't see a gate, and I was talking to the boys at the firehouse, but we gotta make sure that, please follow up with Mark or whoever's reviewing that from our end,
okay,
and make sure that the gates are getting put in, because that section by my home on James Way never had a fence, it was just guardrail.
okay.
So you could quick hop the guardrail, run down to the hydrant by Eisenhower Court, not an issue. Now there's a 6-foot high chain link fence in the way.
Okay, we'll bring it up tomorrow. Joe and I both have the contact for the DOT contractor, and we're gonna have to go to the DOT on this itself.
Sure.
And we'll get back, I'll make sure that they're,
Thank you.
so we can.
Good point.
Very good point.
Okay, reports, Township Committee. Tim, you want to kick us off?
Yeah, I'll be quick. Recreation Board met last Monday. Right now, the rec has open for registration the travel basketball and travel softball and travel baseball. So that's the main thing that's going on there. Football is still underway, and they're in the middle of their season. Fireworks are this Saturday. Gates open at 6 p.m. One of the things that came up this week dealt with the Wyckoff football team and cheerleading team. They were going to do their pictures over at Memorial in the mid-afternoon, early afternoon of Saturday. So I had to get in touch with them and Andy and say, you got to find another place because that's going to be closed for the fireworks, because that's part of the security shutdown, that it's going to be shut down at that point just to make sure that the fireworks are safe. So they were able to, Andy was able to get them positioned over at Eisenhower to do their photos for the football players and for the cheerleaders. So, and that's all I got. Thanks.
Okay. Scott, give a shout out.
Yeah, short and sweet. Working on the Spring Meadow crosswalk concern for the residents of Spring Meadow. Reached out to the county. One member that I would like to talk to is away on vacation. He texts me back. He'll get in touch with me next week. And then I think, Rudy, I think you're on that with me?
Yes, yep.
We'll try and get together, you and I, and with the traffic safety officer and the county, and let's at least look into it and see
Yeah.
what we can do
See
for
what
that.
the possibilities are.
Right.
Yep.
So we just had a shade tree meeting a little while ago. We talked about the tree farm up at Russell Farm. We're going to be doing some assessments of the trees over the winter to see what we can remove in the spring, possibly doing some either local plantings like we have in the past with the schools, or if there are some on the street shade tree concerns, we might be able to put a couple there. But we're going to assess that over the winter. Spring is the best time to pull out the type of trees we have in the farm. I was able to make the Wyckoff Board of Ed meeting last night, actually, so it's Monday. Reported that the new officers are doing very well. They're really interacting with the children and the teachers, and they're really seeming to fit right in. There's not a lot of concern at all that anybody has, other than the fact that they enjoy having them there. So that was a real topic of conversation last night. The board actually had a great meeting, very detailed, and it was about an hour and a half, but it was very, very well run. So I enjoyed that. That's it.
Good to hear. Rudy, you want to go next?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I too will be brief. On Tuesday, the 12th, the Historic Preservation Commission met, and Chairman Swenson and the commission are looking at an additional list of maybe 1.5 to 2 dozen buildings in Wyckoff that we may want to put on the list which actually began with the 14 Revolutionary era structures. It's in the looking at stage now. At a subsequent meeting, the list probably will be shrunk down a little bit. Before we do anything, obviously, I'll report to this body what we're doing. But it's the next phase in what may be the right thing to do, looking at some of the homes. Also, there was discussion about, there's a house on Godwin Ave where they're doing some work, one of the old houses where they're doing some work on the front porch and some of the windows. And members of the commission have been in touch with the homeowner, who has been very cooperative in keeping within the what the Historic Preservation Commission would like to see happen there. So we appreciate that very much. The only other thing was our commission is very concerned about the historic home, the old stone home on Lake Ave in Midland Park, which is slated for destruction, which would be a shame. We really have no standing to do anything, but we're trying to reach out to someone in Midland Park to see what they can do. Not only is it an old home, it's a nice looking old home. Planning board was short and sweet. We approved one memorializing resolution for property on Eugene Way. The Board of Health met, the planning board was last Wednesday night. The Board of Health met Thursday night, and the discussion was, there was discussion surrounding, among other things, that, there was the report from our county representative and a few other questions. There was no presentation. But, Matt, I think you and I should talk maybe with Dr. Clark. The inspection of grease traps is still unresolved.
Yes.
The Board of Health, boards of health are no longer doing it. The state has changed the rules, so I don't know if we need to do something via ordinance in Wyckoff here, but we should have a look at it.
We do. I believe Nancy and I both are in possession of several ordinances from other
Okay.
towns, and I just need to move it up on the list.
Okay.
It's one,
Well,
of,
I
it's
don't
one of
think-
those ordinances that's sort of circulating through the departments right now.
Okay, fine, that's great. Relative to the police committee, which I usually don't say anything, Tom's the police commissioner, but I signed the vouchers over the weekend for our new officers that are working the schools, and it just felt good to do it. It was a good move. Scott, based on your report, everything seems to be going well. So I want to thank everyone involved again for getting that done. Also, we have a request for removal of part of a sidewalk on the corner of Wyckoff and Atwood. And I think that's part of safety, pedestrian and vehicular safety falls under the police department. I think we should refer this to the traffic safety officer for a recommendation on his part. Come back to us. I don't know if it's a good thing to do.
It already has been. I think
Okay.
I know the answer from speaking with him, but I don't have the official yet. so
Okay, then we'll get that
We'll
back.
have that
Wait
for the
for the
next meeting.
official.
Sounds good, okay. Other than that, I attended the beach party company one had at the Y, which was always a great event, so that was good. I'm glad I attended that, and that's all I have, Mayor.
Good, very good. Pete,
All right, thank you, Mayor.
good evening.
Thank you. Environmental Commission met last night. Unfortunately, I was unable to attend as I was at a fundraiser. I know there's a few topics up that was sent over to me today that I need to take a look at and that we'll need to review. This last Friday was the Shred Fest and Styrofoam collection down at Community Park. It was another great success. I don't have the exact numbers. I believe there was close to 300 cars that went there. They filled up another dumpster full of styrofoam, and I just want to thank all the Environmental Commission and Green Team volunteers who came out to help, and our DPW who was there working that also. The junior commissioner, I know we talked about this a few weeks ago. They were looking to do a project down at the economy shop. They're no longer planning that. There was just too much involved with logistics on that. And then speaking of economy shop, I stopped by there today along with the mayor. They had their grand opening. Volunteers are working hard over there. There was an Eagle Scout that completed a project over Labor Day weekend that did painting of the bench, painted some trim down there, rebuilt the storage box out backs, and rebuilt their or built an area for them to keep their garbage cans so they don't blow around there. I was also very lucky to purchase a VHS set of Jaws 1 with 75 bonus minutes on it. I still do have a VCR player, so it's more for a collectible on my bookcase, but it was a great find for $4. So I encourage everyone to stop over the Economy Shop. They were able to donate $75,000 over to the schools last year with the items sold. So it's a great, it's a great cause, and all the volunteers there are doing a wonderful job. Fire department, there's been 473 calls year to date. I attended the Fire Company 1 beach party, which was another great success and great time. I believe they had over 500 people there. Fire Company 3 is having their poker night fundraiser this Saturday night. Next Saturday night. I'm sorry, Company 2. Yeah, did I say 3? Sorry, yeah, Company 2 is having their next Saturday night. Fire Prevention, October 2nd, Company 1 at 6 p.m. And then just lastly, we have another busy weekend here in Wyckoff with the Greek Festival, Wyckoff Day over at the Y, and then the Township fireworks, raising money for the first responders. So let's keep our fingers crossed for some good weather this weekend. That's all I have.
Okay. I got a few things. I too attended the beach party. It was a great event, great fundraiser, a lot of fun, good food, good people, and hats off to our firefighters that do so much for us. I was at the September 11th Memorial, which was a nice event. It was held inside the garage because of the rain conditions, and we had a lot of people there, which was nice. And it was interesting. We had a few remarks by 3 different people, myself, Bill Brock, and Joe Vanderplatt, and the Reverend from the church on Cedar Hill. And it's kind of interesting how the themes tended to mesh as far as how we miss our neighbors. We miss those from town, but we're strong as a community, and that's kind of what makes it so nice for our community, as we pay respect to the 11 local folks that were from Wyckoff. Rudy talked about, we had a police committee meeting. We talked about the status of the SLEO, 3 police officers. We spoke about the hiring. We have a retirement coming up, the hiring of a new police officer. That process began early October. And I just also wanted to follow up on Sky. I've had several comments from many parents of the schools in town. They really appreciate having a police presence there. I had a comment several comments at the picnic at St. Elizabeth's this weekend, how they too like having that presence in the school, and everyone seems to be positive. I attended the senior lunch a week ago at the Larkin House, also known as I survived the senior lunch at the Larkin House a week ago. I see the road pavings. I think we've completed that. Kudos to everybody involved, in particular Joe Vanderplatt and Lenny. The block, I ran into Lenny at the block on Clinton. He was just thrilled to see me, to the heavy onlooking, but they did a nice job, and I've heard a lot of positive things in town from, I've heard nothing but positive things, which is kind of nice from many, many, many people about the road pavings. I was at the Chamber of Commerce meeting this morning, and that was a well-attended meeting, and I know that, I believe we've sent out by now the 3 open houses that are planned at various businesses in town over the next month. I kind of went over it with Barbara Petticelli in advance, made sure everybody got it. Everybody got those?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So that's good, very vibrant. And it's interesting, the couple that had the Fred Astaire studio, they're actually from Ukraine, and they invited us to their open house a year or so ago, and they're phenomenal dancers. They were beaming this morning because they're on their way to Germany next month. There's a representative from the United States of the World Dancing Competition. So not only humbled to go, but they're extremely humbled because they immigrated here, I think it was 7 years ago. Here they are representing the United States over in Germany. They were surprised when they told me it was in Baden-Baden. I knew all about it. It's the cuckoo clock capital of the world. So you can draw your own conclusion of how I would know that. The Greek Festival coming up this weekend, so our friends at Greek Festival, we want to support them. We have fireworks and food this Saturday night, the 23rd planned. And I just also want to note, we have in the agenda, September is National Suicide Prevention Month. Near and dear to me. Lost a very close friend 20 years ago, friend of my son's, and it's a good thing to do. And that's all that I have. Attorney? Mr. David Becker, our attorney.
Many of you might know, there's a couple residents in Franklin Lakes that are interested in hooking up into our sewer system. It's doable, but we need to get an agreement with Franklin Lakes to do so. So their borough attorney did email me back and forth today. He says he's going to call me. We got to discuss it because we need an agreement with them because they need to bill them and then they pay us. Otherwise, it does not work. So I'm waiting to get a call from him to work out an agreement on that. But we can do it as long as we work out that agreement. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Okay, so, seeing no other comments, can I have a motion to adjourn the business meeting?
Work session.
Work
Motion to
session.
adjourn the work session.
Second.
Mr. Boonstra?
Yes?
Mr. Fisher?
Yes.
Mr. Melchiong?
Yes.
Mr. Shanley?
Yes.
And Mayor Madigan?
Yes, we'll be back for the business meeting at 8 o'clock. Thank you.